Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It is Dr. Jan Fortman with Relationship Matters TV. I hope everyone is having a beautifully blessed morning, afternoon, or evening. I am here in the city of Chicago, well, right outside the city of Chicago. And it's really nice. The weather is beautiful, it's in the 50s. We are loving it. Well, today I was to have a guest on by the name of Dr. Tamara Nall, who is an AI expert. But at the last minute, about 45 minutes ago, she canceled. And so it is me. It is me. You have will have the pleasure of me today. And so I was saying that today is an open forum. If there's anything that you would like to speak about or comment on, or a subject matter that you would like us to have a conversation about, you can put it in the chat. Let me know. But as the Queen song is, I think there's the title, The Show Must Go On. Well, the show must go on. So I started thinking about what could we talk about? First of all, something that is in the news. We can talk a little bit about current events. Something that is in the news is something that I think a lot of us are really concerned about, whether it involves us or not. And that is the SNAP benefits that are going to expire, so to speak, the 1st of November. Uh, I am blessed that I don't have to rely on that, but I know people who do. And these are people who are disabled, um, people whose incomes just they cannot afford the price of food. And if you have neighbors who you feel need your support, excuse me, this is the time that offer them support. Um, in food, cooking for them, whatever it is, because you have to remember what affects one of us really affects all of us. So I just wanted to put that out there. If you know someone that you think really will need your support in this, please support them. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about me before I get into a lot of other things. Oh, wait a minute. Just had a text to come in. I appreciate it. Uh, oh, and the question is, and answer if you would like to. Has anybody thought about what people are going to do without that help? So if you have some suggestions about that, put it in the chat, and we can talk about that. So there is someone who in the audience who is concerned about it. But let's talk about me. If a lot of you know me, who come on the show, view the show, and listen to the show often, and you know that I am a relationship communications expert. And I want to give you a thought for today. So the relationship thought for today is, remember, communication is the foundation for relationships. Think about this. Do you have a difficult time in your relationships? Do you feel like people just not understanding me? My loved one doesn't understand me. Um, my colleagues don't understand me. My friends might not understand me. It might seem that whatever I say, they take it the wrong way. I get into a lot of, I would say, arguments, or just people don't understand me. Remember, communication. Communication is the foundation of all relationships. So if you feel that in any of your relationships you would like to communicate better, get in contact with me. Remember, and this is something that I say, I love the relationships I have in my life today, but it wasn't always that way. So I can help you to navigate the challenges in your relationships. So you can contact me, Dr. Janice Fortman of J.H. Fortman and Associates, and you can reach me at Dr. Jan at drjanicefortman.com. That's DRJAN at DRJANICEFORTMAN.com. You can also call me at 1-877-667-7325, or you can text me at 773-443-2058. I also have some good reads. These are books that I have authored or co-authored. Now, the first book is the Little Book of Big Behavior Interventions. At some point in time in my life, actually for almost 30 years, I was a teacher in the Chicago public school system, a teacher and an administrator, and I taught special ed. Well, what I noticed is that there are certain misbehaviors that primary school children have. So I wrote this book, The Little Book of Big Behavior Interventions. And it's the 10 most common behaviors that you see in primary school children. And I would say some interventions that teachers, parents, grandparents can do to keep that misbehavior or the behavior that you don't want to see from escalating. That was my first book. My second book, which is my passion book, is The Secrets to How Not to Throw Mama from the Train. And this book has tips and tools in it to help you navigate the challenges in the adult daughter aging mother relationship. This book is about my journey and other women who decided they wanted to contribute to the book. There's also a survey in that book, and it kind of helps you or even helps your friend to, or friends, anyone you know, how to navigate the challenges in that relationship. The relationship between daughters and moms affects every area of all of our lives. And I know if you are not having difficulty navigating the challenges in that relationship, you know someone who does. I will tell you where all of these books are available. The next book is a book that I collaborated in. It's called Harness the Power of Purpose: How to Monetize Your Personal and Business Journey. My chapter was chosen as the introductory chapter, and it's all about communication and relationships in the workplace. Now, the last book, My Life, My Story, is also a collaborative book, and it's about tapping into your infinite power. In that book, My Life, My Story, It tells you a lot more about who Dr. Janice Fortman is and how she got to where she is today. So, all of these books are available on Amazon.com, or you can go to my website, which is drjanicespeaks.com. Okay, now that's enough about me. That's all about me. So, now let's talk about relationships. Um, this past week, this past Tuesday, um, I would say 2 weeks ago, my husband's brother passed, and the funeral was Tuesday, or the homegoing um, funeral services was Tuesday. Now, what I want to say to you as far as relationships are concerned, it is very important that you maintain, if you can, your relationships with your loved ones, because you never know when that day will come when you will get that phone call. When I am speaking with my clients, especially my clients who come to me for coaching or consulting about their either love relationships, and especially the mother-daughter relationship, I the first thing I tell them is, what you don't want is that phone call. And either the last thing you said to them was something unpleasant, or maybe your relationship was so tattered or broken that you have not reconciled. Because what I've seen that happens is guilt, a guilt that's hard to let go of. I've also seen where the person who has that guilt has a hard time with forgiveness. And it's not always the forgiving the other person, it's forgiving themselves. Now, there are many of you out there, and I'll include me, who have relationships where you feel that you need to reconcile, and it's hard to do. But when you think about it, it's like, I wish I had tried. Now, a lot of times it's not easy, because sometimes, especially in my mother-daughter relationship, clients, either the mom or the daughter doesn't want to reconcile. But what I tell either party is, if you've done the best that you can do, if you have reached out, whether or not the other person accepts your reconciliation or accepts your apologies or whatever, as long as you've done what it is, what I would say all that you can do. If you've done that, then you won't have those guilt feelings. You won't have that feeling that I really can't forgive myself for not reconciling. So I just wanted to bring that up, not because anything like that was happening with my husband's brother, but um, you just never know. You just never know. So if you have anything that you would like to discuss, let me know. I am here. This is open forum day. And for those of you who just came in, my guest canceled at the last minute. And as they say, the show must go on. So let's talk about love relationships. What's going on? I have been talking with different people and about narcissistic relationships. I was at a conference, just came back from a conference in Fort Lauderdale, and I was speaking with a young lady who, when I told her I was an adult daughter, aging mother relationship coach, who started telling me about her mom, who um, is very narcissistic, and what it has done to the family. And also, friends, acquaintances of mine who are in love relationships that are narcissistic. Do you know what narcissism is? How you spot it in relationships? Well, guess what? If you look back at one of my shows, I think it might not have been the last show, but before the show before then, I had a guest who gave us a deep dive into narcissistic relationships. That's something that you might want to look up or even Google it just to find out if you are in that kind of relationship. It can be the relationship with a loved one, it can even be a relationship with a friend, it can be a relationship with a colleague, it can be that kind of relationship even with your boss or your supervisor. But she really spoke about how to recognize it, how to deal with it, and what part you play in it. Because some of us really are enablers. In other words, that narcissistic person that we have a relationship with, we are enablers, meaning we enable them to have that relationship with us. So that's just a little thought that is in my head. So I do see there are some viewers there. I can see, I don't know your names, but I can see uh, when someone comes in. And this is open forum night. If you have anything that you would like to discuss, let me know. Now, for those who just came in, I did get a text, and the text was I started talking about people who are not going to be who are going to be affected because of losing their SNAP benefits. And the person asked, "Has anybody thought about what people are going to do when they can't afford food?" I know that food is high. My son and I went to a fast food restaurant today, and we just decided we wanted some chicken. And of course, something that neither one of us should eat because it's fried, and of course, it's full of sodium. And we decided, you know what? Maybe we'll just get a couple of wings. When the lady said, we said, okay, well, we'll get four wings, two for him, two for me. And she said the wings were $3.09 a wing. What? What? Uh, so I said, no, you can go to the store and get, at least now, and get a fully cooked roasted chicken for maybe $6.95. You can eat maybe for a week. So what I'm saying to you is, even though many of you out there are not going to be affected by SNAP, um, if you know people who you know will be struggling, offer your support. It will mean a lot to them. You can donate to food pantries if you have neighbors who who are struggling. Just take something over there. Even cook for them. Make a big stew, something that they can eat on for a while, or whatever it is. A lot of times we have stuff, food in our freezers or in our refrigerators that we might not want to eat, or we're saving it, or it's just there. So donate it. Donate it to a friend. Donate it to a um, a neighbor. Donate it to a food pantry. Donate it. So now what I am doing, I'm waiting for someone to come in, and this is open forum because my guest at the last minute canceled. So this is open forum. Is there anything that you would like to talk about? Something that will not put me in Facebook jail. That's all I have to say. Don't let it put me in Facebook jail. Well, if it's something that you feel you would like to discuss, talk about, let me know. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to a brief commercial to give you time to put something in the chat to let me know that it's something that's on your mind. Even if you have a question about a relationship, just something that you would want to us to talk about. What I want you to do is put it in the chat. So we will be right back. Well, we are back. And let's see. We did get someone in the chat. Oh, okay. So, and I want people to comment. From Gwendolyn Dunbar, can you talk about the relationships between fathers and sons? There seems to be a strong disconnect between them that is different than mothers and daughters. Wow, that is an excellent topic, Gwen. That is an excellent topic. Now, I've only had one client that came to me, and it was a son talking about his father because he had felt that he had a disconnect with his father. And so there is a difference. There is a saying that mothers love their sons and raise their daughters. Fathers love their daughters and raise their sons. And with this particular son and father, the son felt that he could not live up to the expectations of his father. His father was one of these no nonsense. His father was in the service, had been in the service, and was in the service. And he was a disciplinarian. He was a no nonsense type of man. And he was used to giving orders. The son felt that the father didn't listen to him, number one, that the father just, I would say, did not respect the son's opinions, did not respect the son's decisions about things, and he felt that he could not come to his father and really talk deep as far as tell him what was in his heart, what he wanted to be, the kind of person that he wanted to be. And so there was a disconnect with the father and the son. Now, the father, he hoped that his father would also come to coaching and counseling, so that, because what I like to do is get, it's two sides. And then there is the truth, so to speak. And what I like to do is get both sides. I like to listen to I wanted to listen to what the son had to say and what the father had to say. But the father, of course, I'm not going to say of course, but anyway, the father refused. And what the father said to me is that my son is a punk. I thought, ooh, okay. And really, he said, so I have nothing to say. I'm disappointed in him. And when I asked him why, he just said, he's not the man that I thought he would be, that I raised him to be. So it just kind of gave me some insight on what it was. Now, what I had to do with the son is really talk about who his father was. In other words, who he is, what I told him. Really, it's hard not to take it personally, but it's who he is in his core. You that he had to know that this was how his father was raised. So we went back to, okay, do you know your grandmother and do you know your grandfather? And so we had to go all the way back to that and discuss the relationship his father had with the son's grandfather and the son's grandmother. And so, but the bottom line was, with the son, we really had to really dive deep and I just had to really instill in him that it was not, I hate to say it, but I told him it's not about you. It's about your father. If you know who your father is, then you can know why he says things that he does, how he feels like he feels, how he responds to different scenarios and situations. But it's not about you. You have done nothing wrong. You are you. He is he is who he is. So I had to get him to the point where, even though it was hard, because he said his father would say things, hurtful things to him, like, you're a punk. And but it was where he was coming from, and that he had to, number one, forgive his father. And once he could really get it in here and in here of who his father is, and then he had to forgive himself, the son, and then he had to really work on his own self-esteem. He was a successful young man. He had his own business. He had a family. He had a wife, and he had children. His whole issue too was that he did not want to treat his sons like his father treated him. So then we had to talk about who he was and why he was like he was. His whole thing was that he was really responding to the way his father treated him. So when we go to talk about the relationship between fathers and sons, usually that's what it comes down to, in that the son feels as though he will never live up to his father's expectations. But it's all about who his father was. Now, when we talk about the difference between mothers and daughters, oh my God, that's so. I asked a doctor once that, is there something medical about this? Because when I did my research and did surveys, it was like, oh my God, out of 50 women, anonymous women, and the survey is in my book, The Secrets to How Not to Throw Mama from the Train, which is available on Amazon.com. It was like 80% of the women felt that the relationship with their mom, now these were adult daughters, age 35. The survey was from age 35 on up. That they were having issues with their moms, and then some of the moms were having these issues with the daughters. But this is something different, because we as women, number one, first of all, generally speaking, we are nurturers. So you think, here's your mom. Now, you came out of her belly one way or another. You came out of her belly. Now, well, how does she look at you? She looks at you, oh, my sweet little baby girl. What do I have to do? I have to protect her. Now, this goes all the way up to preteen and teenage. Now, what happens, ladies, when you become a teenager? Remember back when you were a teenager. What did you start doing? You started rebelling. You started trying to be on your own. You feel that you don't need your mother's protection anymore. You don't need your mother's advice. But what's mom doing? Mom is holding on. Now you get to be an adult. Depending on the mom, now she might feel that, oh, she doesn't need me anymore. And as a mom, and I'm a mom, as a mom, you start thinking, oh my God, I'm not needed anymore. So what do? You try to hold on even stronger. Now, here's your daughter. Now she's a young adult. Oh, you've taught her whatever you had to teach her. You raised her. Remember I said moms love their sons and raise their daughters. You raised her in the way that you feel you want her to be. But here's the daughter. Now she's rebelling. Here's the daughter. She wants to go her own way. It causes confusion, confusion on both parts, on both sides. And that's something that I'll say to daughters. Do you know who your mom is? Now, I can be, just to be transparent, I could not understand why my mom wouldn't let me be an entertainer, because that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a background singer to Jerry Butler, because he came to our school. For you younger people, look him up, Jerry Butler. And he was looking for background singers. And he heard us sing, heard me sing, and he wanted. Okay. And my mom said, no, you're going to college. Oh my God, I could not understand that. I thought she was being mean. She's not going to let me be a star. She was just, you were going to college. And when I got my bachelor's degree, it was, you're going to get your master's degree. And then when I got my master's degree, you need to go get your PhD. I couldn't understand the push. But when I really found out, had a really deep conversation with her one day, this is what I found out. Her mother, my grandmother, pulled her out of college, told her, and my mother's very smart, told her, you don't need to get a degree. You just need to find a husband. So that made me understand why. So on either side, it's important that if you are having difficulties, men or women out there, navigating the challenges in that relationship with your mom or with your father, find out who they are. Have a conversation, man to man, woman to woman, not child to parent. And if you can't, when I say have the conversation, it's not always that one conversation. It's just could do a question every now and then. What were you like in school? And maybe at some other time, did you have a lot of friends? Or why did you become this young man? I asked him. Well, his father was drafted, so I couldn't ask, why did he join the army? But what I did ask him is, what made you move up into the higher ranks? Why did you want to do that? Just to get a feel, just get an idea of who his father was. In the end, I'll go back to the son and the father. In the end, when we spoke after our coaching sessions, he said, I understand. I understand. I know it wasn't me. It took a while. He said, I know it wasn't me. And every now and then, it would come back on me. But I know it wasn't me. And I know the path that I'm on is the path for me. And I asked him about, would you speak to your father? He says, yeah. What I do is I call and I ask, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I don't get into anything personal, because I find that if I get into anything personal, he's going to say things to me that I know I don't want to hear, and that will put me back to where I used to be. And so every now and then we still talk, because I check up on him just to see how things doing. Now, Gwen asked, Have you ever done a survey with men like that? No, I haven't, Gwen, but I have been asked when people read my book, this one right here, The Secrets to How Not to Throw Mama from the Train. I have been asked by men, uh, so when are you going to write a book about fathers and sons? See, I wrote this book because it was my journey. And I guess, it was more authentic because it was me, because I guess I had insight. But yes, Gwen, I have been asked that before, and that is my next project, especially since you put it out there. So thank you for that. Okay. Oh, okay. Here's a text that came in. It says, oh, this is about Jamaica. The tragedy in Jamaica. Do you know anyone who has been affected by this event? Now, that could be someone you know who lives in Jamaica, or if you have friends or family members who were tourists. Um, when I saw that it hit Montego Bay, oh my God, because that is a tourist destination that I've been to 3 or 4 times. And the resorts, beautiful, right on the ocean. So if you've been there, or you know anyone that's been affected by it, put it in the chat. Reach out. Reach out. Now, are there any more questions or comments about relationships? I would appreciate it. Thank you very much, Gwendolyn Dunbar. I would appreciate it if anyone else would like to ask a question or make a comment. I would appreciate it. Now, I have maybe about 5 minutes more to go. For those who just came in, because I can see the numbers, it's just me, Dr. Janice Portman, your relationship communications expert, and my guest at the last minute canceled. So it's me. Now, my guest was going to talk about AI. How many of you out there are using AI? She was going to talk about AI and your personal relationship with AI. I have not been using it for personal relationships, but I do use ChatGPT and Claude, and I think it's called Synthesia. Uh, so I'm kind of dabbling in AI. I'm not an expert. However, let me say this to you. At the conference, it was a health and wellness conference. I was in um, Fort Lauderdale a couple of days ago. And one of the speakers talked about AI. So when you think about Chat GPT, we're like, it is so much that you can do that I did not know that you can do. But one thing that was kind of scary to me was when he was saying he went to 3 levels of artificial intelligence. That third level, that top level, had to do with what they call agents. And agents, in other words, you can have ChatGPT 5, or I guess maybe other AI apps, to have agents. And the agents, initially, you tell the agents what to do. But as time goes on, you don't have to tell the agent what to do. It's almost like the agent thinks for itself. And let's say the agent is thinking for itself. So now you have put all your stuff in there, I guess, that, who you are. Or, so let's say, I'll say this. So I'm a speaker and I speak on communications and relationships. So all of the stuff, the prompts that I've put in, and I put in, 20 something prompts, maybe 30 something. When I'm doing some research or I'm looking for something to speak on, well, the more I put in there, the more the AI gets to know me. So I can say, well, I'm trying to um, think of something to improve my speaking. And how can I improve my speaking? Well, the AI, because of all what I put in there, can come back and say, well, your speaking style is very hard based, blah, 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 blah. In other words, who I am as far as speaking is concerned. And this is what I recommend that you speak on. And this is how I recommend that you speak on it. Now, that's because I put that in there and I asked that question. But an agent, without me asking the question again, can just come up with stuff. In other words, I haven't put anything in there, but the agent can say, oh, based on what you have asked me previously, I found something else for you. What? Okay. I haven't even asked it. Then it can come up later and say, well, I gave you that, but I found something else. You can do this and you should do that. In other words, it's thinking for me without even asking. You see what I'm saying? Now, that's just on my level. But think of corporations. What I saw was a diagram with an agent at the top. And let's say you have a big business or even a small business. You have an agent at the top and you have someone HR, HR person, salesperson, Salesforce, media person, etc., etc., etc. All of that's AI, not people. And then let's say under them, maybe the HR department different had different people that make up the the HR department. And so under HR, it might have five. Maybe there was 5 employees in the HR department. All of that's AI. What? Which means that the AI agent at the top is running the business. And there you are. Kind of scary. So my question is, and I just wonder if anyone out there has that question. Oh, I only got 5 minutes. Is that kind of scary? What if AI? I'm thinking about the Matrix, uh, or the pictures. Was that Arnold Schwarzenegger? I guess. Of the pictures. What if AI decides? You know what? I am so efficient. I know everything. And what do I need you for? You're human. You have flaws. I don't have any flaws. I don't need you. So, I go all the way out there. What if it says, you know what? I'm going to globally turn off all your electricity. I'm going to lock you in your house. I'm going to destroy all the food. I'm going to destroy the water supply. Everything that you depend on, I'm destroying because I don't need you anymore. That is my fear. Okay. Gwendolyn Dunbar said, my fear is that AI will be running the businesses and putting so many people out of work. Yeah. So if you are a person who has not decided to at least look at AI and be aware and just educate yourself about it, you need to do it. You need to know what is happening, what is going on, and what the future may look like. Well, I gotta go. So I want to thank all of you who just hung in there with me. I really appreciate my viewers. I appreciate you. I love you. I really appreciate it. And as I said, I was looking for my little Queen guy because I do have him. I've got a bobblehead of Freddie Mercury because Queen is one of my favorite groups. But as he says in one of his songs, the show must go on. So unfortunately, my guest canceled at the last minute and the show had to go on. So I want to thank you again for hanging in there with me. I really appreciate it. I am Dr. Janice Fortman, your relationship communications expert. And if you feel that you would like to navigate the challenges in any of your relationships, you can contact me at, let me find me, Jan for now, 125 at gmail.com. Or if you would like to be a guest on the show, or you know someone who would you feel would be a great guest on the show, who would have some conversation that we would all be interested in, then what I want you to do is to just go to Relationship Matters TV at gmail.com. And if you would like to contact me as far as relationship coaching or consultations, and I do offer a half an hour discovery call for free. I do not charge for it, just to find out if I can help you or I can give you someone who I think would be more appropriate, or just that conversation about your relationship. Just let me know. You can reach me at 1-877-667-7325 or Dr. Jan at drjanicefortman.com. Okay, so thank you again for being with me. I really appreciate it. And I will see you again next week on Relationship Matters TV. Have a beautiful, blessed morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Bye-bye.